All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack the massive shifts happening in the AI industry right now. We are moving incredibly fast, from simple chat interfaces you open in a browser tab to powerful autonomous systems that act way more like actual coworkers. And this evolution, it's reshaping not just the tech itself, but the global economy, the hardware we hold in our hands, and the very way we build software. To make sense of the absolute barrage of updates we've all been seeing, we've structured this explainer around 5 key macro trends: the AI power trap, how AI inflation is hitting your wallet, the shift from chatbots to coworkers, the open source rebellion, and finally, building complex apps in mere seconds. So let's start with trend number 1, the AI power trap, focusing on OpenAI's GPT 5.6. We're starting with a massive paradox here. AI has gotten so undeniably powerful that it's actively being kept out of our hands. OpenAI just dropped their next-generation model, GPT 5.6, and they've structured it into 3 distinct tiers. You've got Luna, which is the cheap, super-fast model for high-volume work. Then there's Terra, a balanced, everyday model at half the price of their last version. But the real crown jewel? That's their flagship model, Sol. On OpenAI's own coding tests, Sol actually beat Anthropic's Fable 5, making it arguably the most powerful AI ever built. But here's the crazy part, and the tension this really highlights: you actually cannot use the Sol model right now. OpenAI literally said the US government wanted a look before it went out to everyone. Because the model is so exceptionally good at finding weak spots in cybersecurity, the government stepped in to restrict public access. So right now, only a tiny group of trusted partners gets a massive head start to build with the best AI, while the rest of us just have to wait for permission. It's a moment that quietly threatens the whole dream of AI being this great equalizer. And all this power, it doesn't just run on thin air. It takes an immense amount of physical hardware. Which brings us directly to a question we absolutely have to ask. What happens to the cost of our everyday tech when these massive models consume the world's memory chips? That brings us to trend 2. AI inflation hits you and the underlying hardware cost. The AI boom isn't just happening up in the cloud, it is actively showing up on your consumer electronics receipt. We are looking at a brand new economic reality called AI inflation. You see, giant AI data centers are eating up huge amounts of memory chips, the exact same RAM and storage chips that belong in your next laptop or phone. Because so much of the global supply is being diverted to AI, there's just less left for the rest of us, and component prices are shooting through the roof. We're seeing the real-world impact of this right now. Companies tried to absorb the cost for a while, but that dam has officially broken. Over in India, for example, Apple just passed on a sudden 70,000 rupee price jump on the MacBook Pro, literally overnight. And it's not just Apple. Microsoft just raised Xbox prices worldwide for the exact same reason, with Dell, Lenovo, and Samsung right behind them. Ironically, Apple's Mac Mini keeps selling out, but not to regular consumers. Tech builders are snapping them up to use as tiny private AI servers. So who's actually cashing in on this squeeze? Look at the daily trade volumes. While you're paying more for your devices, the companies manufacturing this memory are having the best year in their history. Micron, one of the few global memory chip makers, just posted record profits. Right now, it is the single most traded stock in America. There is more money flowing through it daily than even NVIDIA or Tesla. Essentially, we are all quietly covering the bill for the AI boom. Moving on to trend 3, from chatbots to coworkers, welcome to the agent era. Now that we understand the raw power and the physical cost of these models, let's look at how we're actually interacting with them. AI is no longer just a tab you open on your browser. We're officially in the agent era. Tools like Anthropic's Claude Tag are basically turning AI into an autonomous coworker that lives directly inside your company's Slack or Notion. You don't just chat with it, you hand it a task. It can autonomously read your drive to figure out context, break a complex job into actionable steps, write the actual code to fix a bug, and then tag a tool like Cursor to send that code off for human review. No dragging task cards around anymore. In fact, Anthropic notes that incredible 65% of their own product team's code is already written this exact way. But listen, there's a massive hidden risk here, kind of a Trojan horse. An ex-MIT professor, Ashwin Gopinath, warned about this. When an AI coworker lives in your system, it builds context. And context is everything the AI knows about how you work: your files, your past chats, your internal workflows, client promises, and your specific preferences. So the biggest takeaway for your business is this phrase right here: rent the intelligence, own your context. AI models are basically becoming commodities. Swapping the underlying AI is easy, but your company's memory and workflows, those cannot be easily extracted if they are locked inside one vendor's ecosystem. If they hike the prices or you just want to leave, you can't just pack up that context and walk out. You absolutely have to keep your workflows and data somewhere you control, so no single vendor ever holds your work hostage. Which leads us perfectly into Trend 4, the open source rebellion and the push to decentralize power. This exact fear of vendor lock-in, combined with those government restrictions we talked about earlier, is fueling a massive global push toward open source AI. While US corporate giants are restricting access to top-tier models like GPT 5.6 and Fable 5, the international community is just innovating around the roadblocks. Take Japan's Sakana Fugu, for instance. Instead of being one massive, lockdown model, it's an open swarm. It's a decentralized team of available AIs that splits your task up and combines the answers. Because it isn't tied to one single model, if a tool gets banned, Fugu just swaps it out and keeps on running. And remarkably, it claims to match top-tier performance scores without ever touching those restricted models. We're seeing this open rebellion everywhere, democratizing access across entirely different sectors. In the coding world, the US just dropped Oneth, a totally free open source AI that figures out its own rules to solve programming problems. At the same time, China released their free GLM 5.2 model. Over in the sciences, NVIDIA launched Biomo, an agent toolkit that accelerates drug molecule discovery from days down to mere minutes. And even in education, Google introduced Gemini study notebooks, completely bypassing the insane costs of traditional exam coaching by offering tailored study plans to anyone for free. And finally, we arrive at Trend 5, building apps in seconds with the GenSpark magic. Let's see how all this underlying power culminates into jaw-dropping consumer applications, especially with a new tool called GenSpark. GenSpark Design is a total game changer for software development. It condenses what usually takes weeks of back and forth between a designer and a developer into a matter of seconds. You start with step 1, just typing a single descriptive prompt. Boom. Into step 2, the AI immediately plans the layout, colors, and interactions. Step 3, it generates polished, finished UI screens on the fly. We're talking real screens, not rough sketches. And finally, step 4, you hit one button to build, and it turns that entire design into real, live working code. The sheer capability here is absolutely staggering. From just one prompt, GenSpark spun up an interactive landing page featuring flipping Polaroid notes and live text. It generated a complete 11-screen iPhone app, complete with Discover and Social tabs. You can literally draw on the screen to add features like a dark mode toggle, and it builds it on the spot. It even autonomously created a 30-second animated launch video with music, motion, and a fly-through of the app screens. One person, one afternoon, 0 engineering team required. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a critical question to ponder. We are officially past the era of standard chatbots. AI is now your most capable, autonomous coworker. It can build apps in seconds and run your scientific research. But it's also driving up the cost of your physical hardware, and immense power is being consolidated behind closed doors. As you integrate these incredible tools into your daily workflow, you have to ask yourself, who actually owns your company's memory, and ultimately your future? Thanks for learning with us, and keep questioning the tech that is building our tomorrow.